Hello everybody. Hey, I'm going to do the test where I'm going to pull the diode out of here. I came up with a harebrained scheme to put a switch in there to take the diode in and out. So, because I got a lot of things I wanted to do with the diode in, got a lot of things I wanted to do with the diode out. And rather than pulling it in and out dozens of times, I figured I'd just put a switch in there. And let's just go ahead and get this started and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to get started here, and man, the snow is not cutting me any slack at all. So I've come up with another idea, and what I'm going to do, this is the diode. I'll show you in a second. Use my precision pointer tool, and what this is a corn dog stick. It's a high precision tool. And you grind it to it's coated in JB Weld and then ground to a precision point with an emery board. So, I mean, you just can't buy stuff like this at the store. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. And that is the diode in question right there. And the positive end is hooked up down in the bottom. Negative end is hooked up right here, and it doesn't really matter which end we interrupt. All we need to do is disconnect this diode from the circuit. If you don't have a soldering iron and you want to just do this as an experiment, you could actually take a pair of clippers and just clip it right there. You want to use a pretty decent set. And let me zoom back out. And you have to ignore my messy bench. I got several projects going at once, and the option was to clean the bench to make this video or make the video, because I don't have time to clean the bench and make the video. Anyway, if you just wanted to cut the diodes, you could certainly do it with this. I'm not going to do that, and for the purpose of this video, what I am going to do is I picked up one of these Jewels from Radio Shack. It's a leftover. If anybody knows what Radio Shack is, it's a leftover from days gone by, and I still have a few of these in a package, believe it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to interrupt the diode from the negative side right here, and I'm going to put that switch in there so I don't have to solder and unsolder and resolder and unsolder. I just flip a switch and the diode's back in the circuit, turn the switch off, and the diode's removed. And what I'm going to do today is install this switch, and then we're going to do a voltage test. I still have so much snow I can't do anything outside. So I'm going to, just on 2S, I'm going to run this without the diode and measure. I'm going to install two wires, one down here, one up here, and then two wires for the switch, for the interrupt. And what this will allow me to do is I can do a voltage test of the motor. I don't know what this diode is supposed to do, and I haven't bothered to research it. I've just seen in several places where people claim that taking that diode out. Now my camera froze up. Great. Now my camera's not froze up. So I don't know if I got any of that or not. We'll see. Taking this diode out is supposed to it's supposed to help. I've seen where it says it makes the car go faster. If that's the case, taking this diode out, we should see a voltage increase across the motor. So I'm gonna solder two wires on here for that, two wires for the switch, and I don't know. I sometimes think I put too much detail in these, so I don't want to go crazy with it. I'm going to go ahead and probably have to move the camera because I'm looking through it and it's right in my face. But I'll just show you what I'm going to use. And you don't need to get fancy with this. Like I said, if you just want to take the diode out, if this works out as a beneficial test, then all you need to do really is just clip this right here, and then the diode's out of the circuit. But we need to do some testing first to see if there's any improvement. I'm rambling way too much, I can tell, but it's just, I don't want to give a Man, I might need a bigger soldering iron for this. It's a lot of mass to warm up. There we go. So the diode's out of the circuit. I've just got to put the wires in there now. And I'm going to shut up and do this. If I think of something, I'll throw it in there. Otherwise, I'll just maybe fast forward through this or maybe cut it out. And if you guys, let me know in the comments. If I'm just throwing way too much detail into this, let me know. If you're actually interested in seeing this, this is going to make for a much longer video. But I don't mind doing it. I've got to do it anyway. It's just a matter of whether you guys want to see all of it or not. So let me know in the comments if this is too much detail or you just want to see the end results. If I can work around the camera down here for a minute. By the way, I don't have much of this stuff left. This is, I think, my last roll. I used to be a frequent of Radio Shack, but they are gone. See if I can sneak down in there. See if I can maybe turn the servo. That gives me a little bit of room. I don't want to damage the servo. The wires are already pre-tinned. And if you don't know how to do that and you're interested in that, let me know. If you do or don't know what it means, if you do or don't know how to do it, throw it in the comments. And that's something I can address in another video. If I can just hold enough heat on that. I think yep, that got it. Okay, I just need to solder up the switch. And I'm not going to mount the switch anywhere because this is not going to be a permanent installation. This is just for the experiment. And if I remember, I said I was going to shut up. That didn't happen, did it? Nope. So all I'm going to do on here is put the wire through this little hole. I can't do it through the camera, so I'll peek around, bend this over with a pair of pliers. I have another piece for the other side. This will go on the middle contact. And I'll solder that real quick. A little close to my fingers, but I got it. It's not very pretty. It's not going to be permanent. Well, the camera is completely in my way here. Okay, the one on the diode should be pretty easy. It's a lot smaller connection. Okay, that's done. Okay, these are my two test leads. And I'll hook the voltometer up to it. And if you've never used one of these rocker switches, this is bidirectional, and whichever way the switch is, the two pins opposite are connected. There's a little rocker pad in there. When you flip it this way, these two are connected. When you flip it this way, these two are connected. So this way, the diode is in series or in the circuit. And this way the diode is disconnected. So if this is making some kind of difference, then we'll see a voltage difference at the motor at full throttle. If we see a voltage difference, and I don't have a tachometer, but if we see a voltage difference, then the motor should be running at a faster speed without the diode in there. I was under the impression that the diode was in there so that when you're coasting, or it increased the efficiency of the braking, and when you're coasting, it also keeps it from running voltage backwards through the system. I really don't know. I've not looked it up, but just looking at the back of the motor, that's kind of what it looks like to me. When you throw it into reverse, that's when I think the diode becomes a factor. Anyway, I'm going to shut all this stuff off and we'll do something downstairs. Oh, for pity's sakes. This is not set up right. Let me lower this just a smidge. Maybe back it up a tad. Tads and smidges, that's what I grew up on, so that's what I still use. Anyway, get the test leads stuck on here. Put a battery in the car real quick. I didn't completely charge this. It had a storage charge on it, and I got it just under 4 volts. It's good enough for what we're going to do. So, I don't think it's going to hit that little box. Okay. The diode is in series right now. And see if I can just hold this in place. Okay, my alarm went off somewhere through that. I don't know if I got any video prior to this or not. So I'm going to do a quick rundown. Made a test lead up. These are the 2 leads that I soldered onto the motor. There's my switch. We're going to do a voltage test. My theory is if that diode was making some kind of change, we would see a voltage difference. This is just on 2S, but we'd see a voltage difference between the diode being in series or in the circuit and not in the circuit. And I don't know if any of the first video came through or not because my phone was locked up. So we'll do this just in case. So I saw 685 is what I saw. Now I'm going to turn the diode off. Now I'm trying to see if the brakes still work. That's going straight into reverse. Okay, that's with the diode on. Okay, the brakes work. Turn the diode off. And the brakes still work. So I don't know what the diode, in theory, is supposed to do. Let's see if it coasts down any quicker. This is with the diode back in the service. Now I'm going to turn the diode off. I'm really not seeing any difference either way. Maybe I need to try this on a 3S. Okay, you know what? We're going to try this, but as bad as the tires balloon on 2S, I don't know what they're going to do on 3S. I may have to not do this test on 3S, but we're going to try it. And there's my voltmeter. This is with the diode turned on. Oh, I guess I need to turn the car on since I just put the battery in there. Yep. All right, here we go. Okay. Turn the diode off. Diode is now out of the circuit. Whoa. Okay, I'm not seeing any voltage difference at all. So let me shut all this mess off and give you some thoughts. Hey guys, I'm going to tell you something. After all of this stuff, I went and kind of looked at some of the results on this, and what I saw when the car was running down, you're showing the voltage, so the motor is actually functioning as a generator. So looking at all of this stuff, I'm not seeing that pulling that diode out is beneficial. I am going to go ahead and do the GPS test like we had talked about. I'm going to do the speed test with the GPS on 2S and on 3S with the big honking tires. So I'll still do that. And I left the switch on there because I want to see where the load, if it makes any difference. But after seeing what all the results were, I think the only purpose of that diode is to suppress transient voltages to protect the rest of the electronics on that circuit board. So I see no purpose in removing that diode. We'll explore it with the GPS test, but I don't think we're going to see any differences whether the diode's in there or not. I really do believe it's just in there to suppress the transients. So I don't know where the rumor came from that makes a difference. I don't know. I've heard it from quite a few places. I don't, and maybe in the speed test it'll show up a little something different. But as of right now, that's what I think. No purpose in taking the diode out. Let's do the rest of the tests, and we'll see what they show up. So anyway, as soon as snow quits, we'll get started on that. I want to thank all my subscribers. I appreciate you guys and gals, and I want to say if you're not a subscriber yet, consider it. If you want to keep up with what's going on here, be sure and hit the bell. So take care. Catch you guys down the road.